What's up guys, Jordan from Bennett's Customs. We're back on another episode. In this one, a little bit different. We're actually gonna do a walk through the shop. We get multiple comments and tons of emails about some of the machinery side of the stuff. Some of the bigger tools, some of the stuff that's not just by hand, and ones that we use, again, every single day, 7 days a week, creating all the hot rods and everything in between. So we're gonna step over to our first one, being ranked through number 1 through 10. Number 1 being probably the cheapest, number 10 being more the higher end scale of the tools, and just kind of giving you a little bit of a bit of coverage on each one and what I use them for every single day. All right, number 1 being kind of the lower end on the price scale. It is the cake shrinkers. These stretch or shrink sheet metal around edges. You can get quite deep throat. I think this one almost does about a 4-inch or nearly 4.5-inch throat on there. And these work really well for trying to put shape into a panel. I use them a lot. I actually have 2 of them, a little bit spoiled, but the 2 of them, having them set up, one for shrinking and one for stretching, so that you don't have to change the dies out every single time. It is a huge tip. I wish I had done that in the very beginning when I got my first one, but the amount of times switching the dies over just to stretch a little bit more, and then you stretch it too much, then you got to put the dies back in, and then you have to shrink them. So definitely, if you can afford to have 2 of them, it is amazing to have them back to back or side by side, and something utilized almost every single day. A lot of these tools too, we will be covering, are Metal Master tools. We do have a great relationship with them, and they definitely help us out as far as being able to have these tools in the workshop. So majority of them, if not a few exceptions, a lot of them are straight from there. So we will put the link down below where you can jump over to the website and check them out. Another important one that I would use for a very wide part of the workshop, being sheet metal, stainless, big stuff, little stuff, are the linishers. I have 4 of them in here. They all serve a different purpose. The big one mainly is one that I use a lot, but they just work incredibly well for putting radiuses in thicker metal, or just wanting to skim a nice piece of sheet metal down it to clean it up if you aren't using hand file. Obviously the price varies much about what you're going to be creating, or what you're going to be purchasing, but definitely trying to keep to the industrial style of them, where you can load them up a little bit more. And by load, I mean putting some pressure on them. You don't want to buy a real cheap one that you can't really give a bit to it, and it's going to want to stall out or stop. Number 2, definitely linishers. They help me throughout the workshop on a daily basis. Another one that I use a lot, in both the form of fixed in the vise and hand when I'm doing roof stuff, is the Planishing Hammer. This one is designed and manufactured by Carl at Make It Custom. These are an extremely well-made product. All the dies are very, very nice. Forgive me if I'm wrong, Carl. CNC'd, hardened. These are like really, really nice dies that he had got them done. I've kind of just drawn a blank about exactly what they are. But the dies themselves, they come with a very good range of ones that you'll basically use, and you don't really tend to need kind of any other ones. He does now have a upper swivel that kind of rotates, which is really cool for his upper one. But this setup, I use it a lot. It definitely packs a bit of punch. It's great for kind of between that 20 to 16 gauge mark. You could probably push it and do a little bit thicker, or obviously less, but definitely something I love to use after hammering something out, or if I just want to clean something and get that really nice surface that you're always trying to achieve while doing sheet metal work. So Planishing Hammer, great little product. Yeah, obviously be sure to check out his website. He definitely sells them all around the world. All right, number 4, the English wheel. Use this thing a ton. Probably use it a lot more pre-power hammer, but this thing still has a job to do in the workshop and I love to use it. I am by no means a master at the English wheel. It takes a lot of time to finesse, to figure it out, to know its limitations, to know how much material it's going to push right off the bat. So very cool machine, love to use it. I love to know that I'm understanding it more. And I'm very emphasizing that because I'm definitely not a pro, but it is great to use. There are different sizes, different products, different manufacturers make different machines. This one, for the price, is excellent. It works very well. Yeah, I can't complain about it. The dies are great. If you do get one, tip for you guys, always make sure to keep your dies, your upper wheel and all your lower ones polished and clean. Put oil on them, let them sit there. They'll get dust attracted to them, but you can take it, you can wipe it off, and you have a very clean die in order to use. You want to make sure that these are polished so that this polished surface will transfer into the material that you are working on. I've neglected them a couple times and just go and run them, and that material that's gonna basically transfer into there. So you want to make sure that these are perfectly nice and polished and clean so that that surface will transfer into it. Another really fun one is a bead roller. There are manual ones, there are electric ones. I've had both. Manual one is great for certain applications. Not the greatest for when you need to do a big panel. You basically need it's a two-man job, which we've all done previous and many times, and it definitely works. But if you want to have a bead roller that you can have a motor on it so that you can start running some products through and create some really neat stuff, yeah, you definitely can't go wrong. This again is a Carl from Make It Custom manufactured bead roller. This is his first one that he ever created, or not ever, I believe. Actually, it might even be the first one. His new ones that he now sells as a kit, or you can buy the DXF file to get them cut out. He has taken this and made a 2.0 version. So it is much better than this one, but for what this is and how much I use it for, it does everything it needs to and is an exceptionally fun little setup. You can get very artistic with it. You can get very simple with it. It is a very cool little machine. It's got a great motor on it, perfect speed. Variable speed is a cool one if you can. Again, even like a reverse one too. So if you guys are thinking about making one, and if you can get a motor that's on there that can kind of go in both directions, that will definitely help you in certain areas when designing and making a panel. Number 6 is the Noisy Boy. This is a very fun power hammer. It is terrifying, it is loud, it does everything you want it to as far as manipulate metal very quickly. This is a power hammer designed and manufactured by Christian Sosa, Sosa Metalworks. He has another 2.0 version of this with a really neat fence and kind of like a limitation as far as where the hammer hits. So you can kind of get a little bit more involved with trying to create some like beads and profiles and stuff like that. But this thing hits hard. It's great for planishing. It's great for shrinking. The thumbnail dies that come with these are perfect. And I cannot express that enough. They are so dialed and just work so well in order to really shape some metal really quickly. And it was really cool to learn a little bit more on this when I was creating the tunnel for the Hemi Coupe. And we had a really big compound curve in there, and this thing just, low effort, this machine just kind of smashed it out very quickly. So very neat machine. If you are interested in one, jump over to his website. He does have them available, but again, it is a very cool power hammer. Love it. It's very fun to use. Number 7 is the guillotine. I cannot get enough of this thing. Pre-guillotine, it was a straight edge and a grinder. not even nibblers. I don't have a pair of nibblers. I'm still looking for a nice set of nibblers. If anyone out there has a really nice pair of nibblers that they love to use, please let me know in the comments because I am dying to get a set. Guillotine though, you put a sheet in, you cut it, it's dead straight, it's perfect, it's quick. There's no grinding necessary, no heat going into your panel. That kind of sometimes happens with using the grinder. I think that's why a lot of guys like to use the nibblers as well. Price definitely varies with these guillotines because you can go really big. You can go to a big, massive power style one, not a manual foot shear like this one is. You can go as far as big depths as, I think you can get up to like 4, even 5 meters, possibly even 6 meters wide. Maybe not 6 meters, I'm not too sure. But this one fits a standard sheet of steel. I can get it in there perfectly fine. It does exactly what I need it to. Eventually, maybe a little bit wider would be cool, but you know, not crucial. Definitely a good entry-level setup for sure if you want to have one. And this one doesn't take up a ton of room. So if you're limited for space, you can actually get away with this. I got the little, the kind of bits on the back side, but you don't necessarily need them. Another really good tip is to put it on casters. A lot of these things can be put on casters so that you can put them up against your wall if you're not using it. Then when you need it, roll it out, bang, bang, cut your sheet, put it back up against the door or your wall. And each of these ones that I'm explaining, they will be in the link below. So you can kind of go through and check where you can get these and the cost and how much they are. Number 8 is the slip roller. Slip roller is a funny one. I don't tend to use it a lot, but it is very handy to have access to it when I need it. There's been many times that I just need to roll something and you know, I don't necessarily want to use the English wheel. I just want to keep it really consistent, or using a bit of flat bar or round bar or whatever. Pretty fun to make stuff out of. You can kind of get pretty creative on this machine as well. But again, it's not one of those ones that I would highlight at you know, the top of the list to be able to purchase. But again, if you can afford it and you do have it and you have the space for it, it is an excellent machine to have in the workshop to be able to use. Number 9 is the magnetic brake. This thing is awesome to a degree. So when I was shopping for a magnetic brake or a brake in general, you can buy the big manual ones with the teeth that you can remove and put and adjust. They work incredibly well. They are probably a bit better for thicker steel. I had in mind, okay, sheet metal, building stuff, body panels, this is going to be really good. It doesn't have, you know, stuff on the sides, so the throat depth is technically unlimited. We can put a piece in, break it, keep sliding it, break it. You know, we could do a 4-meter long sheet if we needed to. It's very good, but it's only designed for steel. So because it is magnetic, that is, you know, only going to really get you so far. So if you were doing a lot of aluminum work, probably not the setup that you'd want to use. It does work if you're using small, thin bits of sheet of aluminum, because you can still get the magnetic to work on the outsides. But if you are primarily working with aluminum and bigger sheets and you need to put brakes in them, this is probably not the machine for you. But if you're dealing with a lot of actual sheet metal, it is an excellent, fun little machine. The cool thing about this is you can get really creative with how you make your rolls and what you want to create. And you can get really tight, and you know, like by tight I mean you can do a bend and you can get really close to that next bend to be able to do another one because of the way it's designed. It is only about, probably pushes it about 1.2. I wouldn't really go much thicker than that. I have done 1.6 in it. It's probably not the greatest, you know, to do it, but it can do it. But again, really fun machine. Works very well for, you know, putting brakes or shapes or whatever. Nice rolls, you can do anything with it. Number 10 on the probably most used scale, and number 10 for definitely price. The price is expensive, but you get a lot for this machine. This is the largest power hammer that Heron Forbes or Metal Master manufactures. This thing is so awesome. I absolutely love it. And I'm not trying to sell you on, oh, okay, you know, I need this big power hammer. A lot of people can't afford it. And to be honest, if it wasn't for this YouTube channel, I wouldn't be able to afford this either. And I'm very honest about that. We've had a great opportunity to work with them very closely. And you know, with that, we are able to get these machines in the workshop. This machine is so versatile. It is something I use almost every day, and I have been able to create so many different things with this machine. It shapes, it planishes, it does profiles, it does all of that and more. It does louvers. You can use it with the nylon stuff and use aluminum in it. You can run stainless through it. You can run mild steel through it. You can do all sorts of different really cool things. You can run thumbnails through it so that you can shrink. You can do linear stretching with this machine. It comes with so many different dies for what it is. And I think, like, unfortunately for people that aren't in Australia, it's pretty tough to get this. This is obviously an Australian-made machine, hence being from Metal Master. And it is, you know, like, for people in Australia, it is a bonus because it comes with so many different dies. The tooling setup that you get with this is, you know, price is on the point as far as you getting this machine and what you get with it. It is pretty amazing stuff. It is variable speed. You can adjust the hit. You can do so many different things with this machine. And I have honestly, like, I'm at the tip of the iceberg with this guy. I've really only done, you know, shaping, lots of profiling on it. I've kind of figured that out a little bit, and you know, some planishing stuff like that. But I haven't really tried many more things. I've done some beads in it and, you know, different things too. But like, whatever you want to create in your head, you can create it using this, which is really cool. And not saying that you can't do this with other tooling or, you know, a lot of hand tooling. You can still do that. That's not what we're trying to explain here. We're just kind of going through the actual machines that we use, not all the, you know, hand tools and stuff like that. So definitely ranked number 10, by far most used tool in the workshop. I absolutely love this. It's kind of my little pride and joy. But yeah, definitely a good one. And the link for this will definitely be in the description below. Bonus number 11, without a doubt, I can't keep it out, is the Fast Cut CNC machine. The Icon Elite Series 4x8 table is what we have in here. It is just about to be operational, very, very close to it. Just need to get the dryer set up for the plasma itself. And then this thing is going to be operational. So the ideas are endless of what we want to create on this. Yes, it is an expensive table. Is it, you know, probably, I'm not just saying this because I'm biased to Fast Cut and everyone that works there and the owner, Russ. It is a fantastic machine. And you know, there's so many different machines out there, but if you were considering purchasing one and you were, you know, somewhere in North America or in Australia, I would highly, highly suggest to contact Fast Cut, speak to them about it, and, you know, do your homework, do your research. There's so many different designs and, you know, aspects to this. And, you know, a really big one is being the people that are behind it. It is like incredible to be able to go into that place and, you know, be surrounded by so many guys that just like love to be working and doing what they do. They are all so passionate about it. And, you know, you kind of walk in there and you just immediately get this sense of like, wow, I'm, you know, getting really pumped up on this. But just very humble people, and they design and make a badass plasma cutter. So you cannot go wrong with it. But that is number 11. I had to put it in there because it's not like I forgot about it. I just knew as far as the price goes, yeah, it's our most expensive tool in the workshop, by no means. They are not cheap, but if you know, can afford one or want to create and build one, you can obviously do that as well. But definitely, you know, Icon Elite Series 4x8 table, fast cut, without a doubt. So hopefully that answers some of the questions that we get in emails and comments a lot of the time of kind of the main heavier machinery tools that we use in the workshop on a daily basis, you know, giving us that opportunity to be able to create such amazing, you know, cars and hot rods and everything in between. This isn't like a catalog. I'm not trying to push anything on you guys. It's, you know, they're not at me about trying to sell their stuff. I just really want to show you guys what we have in here and what I use. I feel like it is important to share that stuff as well as sharing everything that we're building in there too. So hopefully you guys can take a little bit, you know, from that. And, you know, maybe you guys do something a little bit different. I'd love to know what your lists are, or maybe there's a tool that you guys use a lot that you see me, you know, that you could see I could use, or vice versa. You know, please ask questions or give me some tips on stuff that you guys really like to use. Biggest one is like shop flow. I'd love to see some drawings of a scribble that you guys could do to make this shop better. That's a huge one. Submit a few emails. You know what the shop layout looks like. Draw some squares where the fab table is, where the toolboxes are, and try and figure out how to make this better. I am dying to organize this workshop to make it very efficient and flow nicely. I want it to be like a laboratory. I don't want anything to be on the ground. I just wanted to walk in and have like super bright lights, and then just have like whatever you're working on right in the middle of the workshop. So a few tips. That's basically what it's going to be. So the car that I'll be working on will be right in the middle of the workshop. You guys create and give me some tips on how your feng shui or your flow works in your workshop. Anyways, enjoy.